We've all seen them. Heck, maybe some of us are them. Those people who always seem to be walking on the very edge of things, on the outskirts of society. But what is really going on inside their heads? Is it this source of incredible genius? Or is it something else entirely? If you've ever felt that pull towards isolation, well, let's dive in and explore it together.
Yeah. If any of those words just hit you in a familiar way, then you already know this isn't just some abstract idea we're talking about. It's that feeling, deep down, of being wired differently, of maybe seeing just a little too much. And that, right there, is where our journey really begins.
And here it is, the fundamental conflict, right? Society, it offers this kind of prepackaged sanity, a sense of safety, but the price of admission is to conform, to fit in. And for the outsider, that price is it's way too high. So let's talk about what it actually means to live outside that system.
Okay, first things first. Let's break down who this person really is, beyond all the myths we see in movies and books.
We all love the Hollywood myth, don't we? The cool, mysterious, misunderstood hero. But the reality is often a lot less romantic. It's this gnawing internal battle, fueled by an overactive mind, and honestly, a deep sense of existential dread.
So, where does an identity like this even come from? Well, here's the thing. Outsiders are almost never born that way. They're made. They are forged in the fires of early experiences, disappointment, maybe betrayal, that plant a seed that something about the world is just fundamentally off.
And you can see how this psyche gets sculpted over time. It starts with that deep, nagging sense of not belonging, that's then reinforced by experiences of rejection, which in turn builds this foundational mistrust of other people. And eventually, you just come to a conclusion. It's simply safer to walk alone. It's more peaceful.
And all of this leads to the central paradox of the outsider's life, this constant, grinding struggle between the absolute freedom they crave and the genuine connection they actually need.
For the outsider, you gotta understand, independence isn't just a preference. It's not a lifestyle choice. It is survival. It's the armor you build piece by piece to shield yourself from pain, from betrayal, and from all the little disappointments of the world. But here's the trap, and it's a brutal one. That same armor that keeps you safe, that protects you, eventually it becomes your prison. It cuts you off from the very vulnerability and connection that, as human beings, we are all wired for.
This is the question that keeps you up at night. You crave that deep connection, but you're terrified of dependency. The terror isn't just about being rejected. It's about losing the very identity, the very self that you fought so hard to build in the first place.
So now, the journey has to turn inward. After you spent all this time building a fortress of solitude, well, it's time to face what's been living inside it with you.
Let's talk about something called the shadow. The psychologist Carl Jung came up with this idea. It's basically all the parts of ourselves that we try to bury or deny, our rage, our envy, our deepest fears. And for the outsider, all that isolation gives this shadow a lot of room to grow.
And the thing about the shadow is, it doesn't yell, it whispers. It feeds you these insidious little lies that feel like absolute truth. You're better off alone. They'll just let you down again. It sabotages relationships, it fuels your cynicism, and the whole time, it sounds just like your own rational voice.
So what do you do? Well, the path forward isn't to fight these parts of yourself. You can't destroy them. The goal is to integrate them. Through some radical, brutal honesty, that buried rage can be transformed into courage. That envy can actually become a compass, pointing you toward your true desires. Next up, let's explore the part that so many people romanticize, the outsider's unique vision. But this gift? Oh, it comes with a very, very heavy price. When you're removed from the herd, you finally stop hearing all the noise, and you can start to hear your own signal. Solitude gives you this uninterrupted, high-speed connection to your own mind, and lets you see patterns and connect dots in ways that other people just miss. But here's the curse. Without any feedback, without anyone to challenge your thoughts, your mind becomes an echo chamber. And those brilliant, original ideas can slowly curdle into delusions. It is an incredibly fine line between genius and just obsessive, disconnected loops. This heightened awareness becomes a huge burden. You start to see right through all the social games, the little masks people wear. And what first feels like a superpower soon becomes deeply alienating, because you realize just how much of the world is built on a kind of collective denial.
And this can lead to a really painful question. You might actually wish you could go back, back to when things were simpler. Because blissful ignorance, it had a certain comfort. But the thing is, once that veil is lifted, it doesn't come back down.
So what's next? What happens after all the illusions collapse around you? This is the final stage, moving beyond just surviving and actually stepping into a real purpose. When all of society's rules and goals and signposts just disappear, what you're left with is a void, a giant empty space. It should feel liberating, but at first it's just plain terrifying. This is the existential desert. It's vast, it's brutally honest, and it is incredibly demanding. And this is the great responsibility that comes with seeing clearly. Meaning is no longer something you go out and find, like a treasure. It's something you must build from scratch, using the raw materials of your own truth. You have to become both the seeker and the source. And this, right here, is the ultimate realization. The goal was never about finding a way to fit in, and it was never really about running away either. The entire journey, the isolation, the inner battles, all of it was about stripping away everything that was false so you could finally become who you truly are.
So we end here. That clarity, that unique vision that once felt like a curse is now your compass. The whole journey shifts from one of survival to one of creation. And the question is no longer how do I fit in or where do I belong, but what will I build?